What's up everybody, welcome back to Toge Lab. Today we're going to diagnose an issue with our AEM Failsafe Gauge. We're having an issue where on startup the gauge completely errors out. Here with the powered on, you can see that the gauge is stuck on 14.4 and then it's shortly after that it errors out. And since I have this wired to our boost controller, this is throwing an error code on the car. So let's go and see what's wrong with this. My first initial thought here was maybe there's something wrong with the actual sensor. So we're going to go ahead and unplug it here and remove it from the car to see if there's any issues with the actual sensor. To remove the sensor, we need to remove this heat shield here. There are two 10mm bolts holding our heat shield onto the turbo. There's one right there and there's one behind it that you can't see off camera. With the two bolts removed, we can move the heat shield out of the way and use our O2 socket to remove the sensor. Here you can see the wideband sensor. It does look a bit dirty, but nothing really looks like it's wrong with it, so we're going to go ahead and try to test this. I'm not sure if the wideband sensor is fouled here, but I do have two of these sensors. I have the original one on the car and a spare. So we're going to go ahead and plug in this spare into the harness and see if it will read it. Now with the new wideband sensor plugged in, let's see if this fixes our issue. Now that we're back in the car, the gauge is powering on. Hopefully the gauge will fully lean out since the car isn't on, and this will indicate that it's reading the sensor correctly. Looks like that didn't fix the issue here. I'm still getting the error code, so let's do a little bit more troubleshooting. Now I'm inclined to think that there's something wrong with the wiring. I'm going to pop off the A-pillar cover here with a flathead screwdriver, and then there is a 10mm in there that's holding the A-pillar in place. And then once we remove that, we should be able to take the gauges out and see if there's any issue with the wiring. With the gauge removed from the A-pillar, we're going to power it back on and see if we can push some of the pins into the connector a bit more to see if there's a loose connection. And just from wiggling the pins around, you can see that the wideband sensor is now leaning out, which means it is reading the wideband. So this is perfect. It looks like the only issue that we have here was a loose wire, so that's a great relief. And now we're just going to put everything back together and switch the sensor back to the old one. And just for good measure here, we're gonna fire it back up again and make sure that it's still running properly before we push it back all the way in, just to make sure that I didn't knock any other wires loose. With the A-pillar back on, now we're just going to put back on the wideband sensor and the heat shield, and that completes our diagnostics of the AEM Failsafe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.